Hello, I'm Liam Pierce, and welcome to the first episode of Subfolio's Inside the Review Process. In this series, we walk through real review processes used by magazines, presses, and contests to review submissions in Subfolio. This first episode covers a high-volume review workflow for larger teams. I call it reader to board, but it's a review workflow that starts with screeners, moves to readers, then to editors, then to a board of editors, and finally to an executive director who makes the final decision on every piece. This review workflow handles well over 2,000 submissions a month for a team of 2 screeners, 2 readers, which can be the same as the screeners, 4 editors, and 1 executive director. First, I'll walk through a flowchart of this review process. Then, we'll use a demo environment and an example team to actually use the review process and show how it looks and feels for each participant in the review. Finally, I'll show how it was created in Subfolio so your team can easily use the same or adapt it to your needs. This is the flowchart of the review process we're looking at today. First, a submission is received. When it's received, it goes into the screening round. In this round, 1 reader is assigned. Their only job is to vote either yes or reject on the submission. They're taking a very cursory look at the submission to say, does it have any potential through the whole rest of the process? If not, it gets rejected. The second round is a reader review. 1 reader is assigned. Their job is also to either say yes or reject, except they're taking a much deeper look at the submission. In this case, if they say reject, a different reader gets assigned to do the same thing. If both say reject, then the piece is rejected. If the first reader or the second reader says yes, then it moves to the editorial review. In the editorial review, a single member of the editorial board is assigned to the submission. Their job is to champion the piece. Either a revision is requested, or it's sent to the editorial board, or if the piece isn't a fit, it's rejected. When the piece is sent to a revision request, the piece is tagged as a revision request and left waiting until the revision comes back. And when the revision comes back, it enters back to the round where it was. When a piece is sent to the editorial board, all of the members of the board are added to the piece and they have a table discussion. If the piece is a fit, then it moves to the executive director. From here, round 5, or here, round 6, the piece can again be sent to revision. From the editorial board, the piece can be rejected, and from the executive director, the piece can be rejected. Finally, if the executive director approves the piece, it's accepted. Especially in the later editorial review rounds, there are lots of other things happening. For example, conversations with the submitter, or internal conversations, or internal revisions. It's important to note that we're only looking at the review process here and how the submission is moving between different rounds, different people, different votes, etc. We're in the example system. Let's take a look at the submission calls first. There's only 1 submission call for general submissions. There's a price, $2.50, and there are limits. There are 2,000 total per month allowed, and there's no per submitter cap. Let's edit this call and take a look. You can see the category name is General Submissions. It's a paid submission, and there's a review workflow, General Submissions. We'll take a look at that soon. Submission limits, it's set to 2,000 submissions per month. Revisions are not allowed. The guidelines are set. In form elements, the submission upload is disabled. There's a genre question, a simultaneous submission question, and the submission upload is re-added here to let it be ordered last. If we edit the genre question, we can see there are 3 genres: essay, fiction, and poetry. And each one of these genres has an automatic tag. For example, essay will be tagged on the submission if it's answered as essay. Same with fiction and poetry. If we go back, we can see the same is true for simultaneous submission. Next, let's take a look at the readers and groups in the system. There are 4 editors, one editor-in-chief, 2 readers, and 2 screeners. All of them have no assignment limit for now. In groups, we have the editors group, the readers group, and the screeners group. Now we're in tags. You can see that there's the essay tag, the fiction tag, the poetry tag, a revision required tag, and the simultaneous submission tag. In the Review Workflows tab, we have one review workflow named General Submissions, and one review form, Yes versus Reject. Let's take a look at the form first. Click Manage, then Edit, then Next. And you can see there's one question on this form: should this submission move forward? Either yes or reject. And a note at the bottom. If we edit this question, we can see that the yes option has a related score of 10 and reject 0. Next, let's look at the review workflow. You can see there are 5 rounds: screening, readers, editorial, editorial board, and editor-in-chief. These rounds match the flowchart we looked at earlier. Screening is the first screening round. Readers is a combination of both the second and third round from the flowchart. Editorial is the single editorial champion. Editorial board is the full board assignment with a yes, no, maybe vote. And editor-in-chief is the final decision. Now that we've seen the basics of how this system is set up, I'm going to issue myself a fee waiver and submit a test submission. I've filled out the full submission form with my fee waiver and an example file, and now I'll submit. Back in the open submission list, we can see our submission, and we can see that a screener was assigned. Let's open it. In the submission, at the top, we can see all the different review stages, and we can see that screening is the current review stage. If we go into voting, we can see that screener 1 is assigned to do a yes versus reject vote. The system is set up to assign screeners in a round-robin style. Since there are 2 screeners, if I, as an admin, come and reset the screening round, the second screener will be assigned. If I do the same again, we're back to screener 1. Let's log into screener 1 and see what they see. We're now logged into screener 1. If we click the file to review it, you can see that on the right, our vote is brought up. We can either say yes or reject. In this case, if we say yes, the submission will move to the next round. If we click reject and submit, we'll be prompted to actually reject the submission. Let's click out and change our vote to yes. You can see the review round was automatically changed to readers, and reader 2 was assigned. If we click back to round 1, we can still see screener 1's vote. Let's go back to the submission list to see there are no longer any submissions assigned to screener 1. Now, we'll log in as reader 2 and complete the vote. We're now logged in as reader 2, as you can see in the bottom left. Remember, in the readers round, our job is to take a deeper look at the submission and vote either yes or reject. If we vote yes, the submission will move forward to the editorial round. If we vote reject, the submission will be assigned to another reader who will also vote yes or reject. Let's start by voting yes. When we submit, the submission is automatically moved to the editorial round, and an editor is assigned. Let's reset the round, then reset it again, and vote reject. You can see that reader 1 is now assigned, and they'll vote either yes or reject. Let's log in as reader 1. Now, logged in as reader 1, when we go to our queue, we can see the submission has been voted on already. When we open the submission and read the file, we're prompted to vote either yes or reject also. If we vote reject, we're prompted to reject the submission, and we can see that reader 2 has voted 0, and we've voted 0. If we click next, we can move forward with the rejection. Let's click away and change our vote to yes to move it to editorial. and we can see that editor 2 has been assigned. Let's log in as editor 2. Reader 1's job is now done, and the submission is gone from their queue. We are now logged in as editor 2. If we open the file, we can see other votes, but we don't have a vote ourselves. Our job is to decide what happens next with this submission. We can assign other editors. We can have conversations about the piece. We can correspond with the submitter. Or, when we're ready, we can move it to the editorial board by clicking here. You can see automatically every member of the board is assigned, and they're all given a yes, no, maybe vote. Let's vote yes. You can see that every other member of the board is assigned. Let's assume the board decides this piece needs a revision. You can tag the piece as revision required. You can send the message to the submitter. And in Actions, you can enable revisions. You can set an end date for revisions or open them indefinitely. You can see at the top, submission revisions are now enabled. In my submitter account, I can see a new message that was also sent as an email. I can view the message. I can add a message. I can revise the submission and upload a new file. When the submitter is done revising, they can send a new message, or the system will automatically note that there has been a revision. When the submitter is done revising, we can remove the revision required tag. And when all the editors are done voting, we can move it to the editor-in-chief round. This movement can be done automatically too in the review workflow setup. Finally, let's log in as the editor-in-chief. When the editor-in-chief gets to the submission, they can see all the previous votes, they can read the correspondence, look at the files and conversation in the chat, read the submission itself, and make a decision in Actions. They can either accept, reject, or do anything else they need to do. Let's accept this submission. The piece is now formally accepted. In the Correspondence tab, we can see the message that was sent. And in the submitter account, we can see the status accepted and the submission acceptance message. Now that we've seen a submission all the way through to acceptance, let's take a look at what happens when readers have assignment limits. In Subfolio, you can manage reader assignments by going to Manage, Assignment Limits, and turning on assignment limits and changing the limit period. For Screener 1 and Screener 2, I've allowed one new assignment every week, and you can see they've already reached that limit. They each have 4 assignments in 1 week. Let's submit a new submission and see what happens. I'm going to issue myself a new fee waiver and load it in a new tab. You can see I've titled it, I've chosen Essay, and I've marked it as a simultaneous submission. Let's submit. Back in the system, we can see our new submission, and we can see that there are pending assignments on this submission. If we click in, we can see the same. We can also clear the pending assignments. If we go to our review workflow, we can see there's one queued assignment. When readers become available again, they'll automatically be assigned to submissions in submission order. If we go into the submission, we can see the vote is ready for assignment. We can also manually fix this. We can, in the submission, clear pending assignments by clicking here, or in bulk actions, we can bulk unqueue and click Remove from Queue and confirm. Now every submission in the list is no longer queued. If we remove the filter, we can see there's no one assigned. If we go to bulk actions and bulk assign, we can assign an editor and include the assignee in the active vote. Or we could go to Advanced View and assign a group. For example, all editors, round robin, and click Assign. Now, an editor would be assigned to every submission in the list that was queued. And they can vote on the screening round. We'll be going through this review workflow in a moment, but you can see that this queue for assignment behavior was decided ahead of time. You can also choose a fallback assignee, for example, someone who's in charge of the whole workflow, and they can assign people when others are out of their limit. Queuing for assignment is best when you have a large team and weekly or monthly revolving limits. Some teams also opt to not enforce assignment limits at all, and just tell their readers to read a certain number every week or month. That decision is up to you, but the system supports both. In the final section of this video, we're going to be looking at how this review workflow is actually designed in Subfolio so that you can do it yourself or adapt it to your needs. On the general submissions workflow, let's go to Edit and go to Next to look at all the different rounds. First, let's take a look at the screening round. The screening round uses a custom form with a yes versus reject question that we saw earlier. That was selected in the stage review type, custom form, and the custom form was chosen. The scoring method is average total score, and the assignments are chosen from a custom list round robin using that screeners group we set up earlier. In the fallback section, the fallback behavior is set to queue for assignment, so that if everyone is out of their limit, the system will queue them for assignment until they're available. The system is set to automatically advance when the score threshold of 10 is met. We saw from the form 10 means yes and 0 means reject. Finally, in the workflow, there's one review decision rule: prepare rejection. If the score is less than 10, the system automatically brings up the rejection form. The second round, the reader's round, is the most complex because of that double assignment that we saw. It's still a custom form, yes versus reject, using the average total score scoring method. It's a custom list round robin from the readers group that we set up. There's no fallback user because there are no limits on any of these readers. It uses automatic advancement with a score threshold of 10, which means that if the first user votes 10, then it will advance. And in workflow, there are 3 rules: assign second reviewer, advance from second reviewer, and reject from second reviewer. Let's read these. You can see there are conditions. Let's read them. If the score is less than 10, and this rule has been run 0 times, then we repeat the round assignment. What this means, if the first reviewer didn't vote more than 10, and this hasn't been run before, then we'll assign another reader. You can see in the repeat round assignment action there are exclusions. Any assignees this round can't be assigned again. This just ensures there's always a unique assignment for the second reader. In the advance from second reviewer rule, it says if the average combined score is greater than or equal to 5, and there have been 2 votes, then advance to the next round. So if both readers have voted and the combined average score is more than 5. In reject from second reviewer, it's the opposite. If the score is less than 5 and the vote count is 2, then it starts the rejection process. The editorial round is a self-guided review, which means there's an assignment, one editor from the editor's group, no fallback because no editor has a limit, and no automatic advancement and no voting. The editorial board review is a yes, no, maybe vote from the custom list all at once from the editor's group, which means everybody that's a member of the editor's group will be assigned for a yes, no, maybe vote. The editor-in-chief round is also a self-guided review, with a custom list round robin that only includes the editor-in-chief. In this first episode, you've seen how to make a high-volume review workflow with multiple rounds that mirrors a real review workflow for a large team. You've seen how to manage assignment limits for the workflow and how to manually assign others when necessary. Thanks for watching.